The camera pans slowly over the sprawling ancient grounds of Althorpe, the very air thick with a sense of history. Yet for the young girl who roamed its vastness, it was a place often touched by silence. She was born Lady Diana Spencer. A name of privilege, yes, but her early years were more a whisper of loneliness than a shout of joy. The splintered fragments of her parents' divorce echoed through those grand halls, carving an empathy deep into her heart, a profound understanding of pain that would later become her greatest strength. She dreamt not of crowns, but of love, of children, of a quiet, fulfilling life, utterly unaware that destiny had already laid out a path both glorious and devastating, a path that led directly to a silent, unyielding crown. Then came the flashbulbs, the roar of the crowd, the dizzying ascent into a world she barely comprehended. July 29, 1981. A fairy tale, a spectacle. St. Paul's Cathedral shimmered, a beacon for a world captivated by the promise of a princess, a real-life Cinderella. 20 years old, a blush on her cheeks, a shy, almost innocent smile playing on her lips, she emerged from that golden carriage, her ivory gown a wave of silk, stretching an impossible 25 feet behind her. Prince Charles waited. Billions watched, breath held, as she walked towards her supposed happily ever after. The kiss on the balcony, a moment frozen in time, promised forever. But beneath the dazzling veneer, a different story was already unfolding. The very air around them crackled, not with love, but with an unspoken tension, a chilling premonition. The fairy tale, as all fairy tales do when confronted with reality, began to unravel long before the final page was turned. The reality was a cruel awakening. This was no gentle embrace, but a suffocation. The palace walls, meant to protect, became the bars of a gilded cage. The relentless engagements, the endless smiling for cameras, the stifling weight of royal protocol. It was an assault on her spirit. She was a goldfish in a bowl, every move scrutinized, every flicker of emotion caught by the lens. The media, a ravenous, insatiable beast, devoured her. They chased her, stalked her, turning her private anguish into public fodder. Every dress, every gesture, every whispered word became headline news, fueling the relentless machine that fed off her vulnerability. Yet, within this crucible of unimaginable pressure, something extraordinary began to ignite. This shy girl, this reluctant royal, began to find her roar. She wasn't just surviving, she was transforming. And how she transformed. She didn't just attend engagements, she engaged. She didn't shake hands from a distance, she reached out, touched, connected. Who could forget the raw, defiant power of her visiting AIDS patients in the 1980s, openly embracing them, shattering the global stigma with a single, compassionate touch? Or the sheer courage of her walking through an active minefield in Angola, her steps deliberate, her face etched with grim determination, challenging the world to look at the devastating human cost of war. Her empathy was a force of nature, her compassion a blazing fire. She didn't just represent the crown, she represented humanity itself. She became more than a princess, she became the people's princess, a beacon of genuine warmth in a cold, distant world, a bridge between royalty and real suffering. She spoke volumes not with grand speeches, but with the quiet power of her presence, her touch, her unwavering gaze. But even as her star soared, captivating the world, her personal life was a battlefield. The affair, the shattering public admission by her husband, the agonizingly prolonged divorce, each revelation was a fresh, deep cut. The fairy tale had died a brutal death, leaving behind a woman publicly heartbroken, yet fiercely determined. She navigated this maelstrom of betrayal and scrutiny with a defiant grace, her vulnerability laid bare for all to see, yet somehow, she emerged stronger, more relatable. She spoke of her bulimia, her profound loneliness, her struggle to find love and acceptance within an institution that felt utterly alien. She was stripped bare, but in that raw honesty, she found an unbreakable bond with millions. Then came Dodi Fayed, a new flicker of hope, a desperate yearning for peace, for privacy, for a chance at a normal life away from the relentless glare. Their whirlwind romance unfolded under the same unforgiving spotlight, a bittersweet attempt at happiness amidst extraordinary circumstances. They sought refuge on yachts in the Mediterranean, in secluded villas, anywhere they could find a moment's solace, unaware that their pursuit of peace would lead them to their final, tragic destination. That quest for peace, that desperate flight from the lenses, led them to the heart of Paris. August 31st, 1997. The air was thick with the humid summer night. A grand dinner at the Ritz, a sudden decision to leave through a discreet back exit, a waiting Mercedes. And then, the relentless, aggressive pursuit. The snarling engines, the flashing cameras, the terrifying speed. The Pont de l'Alma tunnel became a vortex of chaos, metal, and shattered glass. The sickening, deafening impact, a sound that tore through the night, echoing through the hearts of millions the moment they heard the news. The aftermath was a nightmare of flashing blue lights, mangled wreckage, and chilling silence. Confusion reigned, reports conflicting, fragmented. The world recoiled in horror, struggling to comprehend the sudden, brutal snatching of a life that had meant so much. The official story arrived swiftly. A tragic accident, speed, a drunk driver. But for a world in shock, for hearts broken, it was never enough. The questions, like insistent ghosts, began to whisper, then to roar, refusing to be silenced. And so the conspiracy theories exploded, fueled by a profound sense of disbelief, a desperate need for a deeper explanation. Was it truly just an accident, a cruel twist of fate, or something far more sinister, an orchestrated act? The whispers of MI6 involvement grew louder, accusations of an elite institution eliminating a perceived threat. Was Diana, with her increasing independence, her powerful voice against the establishment, her relationship with an Egyptian Muslim, deemed too dangerous, too uncontrollable? The paparazzi chase became a focal point of fury. Were they simply doing their jobs, or were some actively, maliciously pushing the car to its doom, perhaps even acting on orders? The number of photographers, their aggressive tactics, fueled the suspicion. And then, the chilling royal silence in the immediate hours after the crash. The initial detached response from the palace felt like a betrayal, a confirmation to many that they simply didn't care. The perplexing lack of CCTV footage from critical points along the route, particularly inside the tunnel, became a gaping hole in the official narrative. In one of the most surveilled cities in the world, how could such crucial evidence simply vanish? What was hidden? What was being protected? The fragmented, incomplete testimony of Trevor Rees-Jones, the sole survivor, haunted the investigation, his shattered memory unable to fill in the terrifying blanks. And then, the unnerving speed of her embalming, seemingly rushed within hours of her death. Why the haste? Was it to conceal a potential pregnancy, a rumor that had circulated wildly? Or to prevent a thorough toxicology report that might reveal something inconvenient? For millions, the official narrative felt like a flimsy veil, barely concealing a truth too dark, too dangerous to ever fully expose. The questions hang heavy in the air even today, a silent accusation against the very powers she once served. The funeral, a week later, was not just a procession. It was an unprecedented outpouring of raw, collective grief, a wave of emotion that threatened to overwhelm an ancient institution. Millions lined the streets of London, a sea of flowers and tears, a testament to the visceral, profound connection they felt with their people's princess. The silence, heavy and aching, as her coffin passed, punctuated only by the heart-wrenching notes of Elton John's Candle in the Wind, was deafening. The public outcry was not just about mourning a princess. It was a furious, guttural roar against the monarchy's perceived coldness, its detached stoicism in the face of such unbearable sorrow. It was a demand for humanity, for empathy, for the royal family to break its centuries-old silence and acknowledge the immense, shared pain of a nation. And in that moment, the monarchy, rigid and unyielding, was forced to bend, to adapt, to realize that its very survival depended on connecting with the beating heart of its people. Her legacy is not merely etched in history, it pulses with a vibrant, enduring life. She became a martyr for millions, a symbol of profound vulnerability intertwined with unshakable strength, a woman who dared to challenge the staid traditions of a millennia-old institution, bringing warmth and authenticity to a cold, distant establishment. She remains a modern icon. Her effortless style, her unwavering compassion, her tireless commitment to humanitarian causes continuing to ignite inspiration across generations, across continents. Her work with landmines, her fearless advocacy for those suffering from HIV/AIDS, her championing of the homeless. These were not mere royal duties, they were heartfelt missions that redefined what it meant to be a royal in the modern age. And in her death, a death that ripped through the very fabric of global consciousness, she undeniably changed the monarchy forever, forcing it to become more accessible, more transparent, more attuned to the sentiments of its people. The silent crown perhaps finally learned to listen, to feel, to acknowledge the powerful echoing voice of the people's princess who broke barriers, touched countless hearts, and ignited a global conversation about compassion, duty, and truth. Her light may have been extinguished too soon, too brutally, but its radiant glow continues to illuminate the path for others, a defiant, passionate legacy against the silent crown. If you're moved by stories that challenge power, reveal truth, and honor unforgettable legacies, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more. Don't forget to leave a comment on which history video you would like to see next.